Oh, look, some of Rich
Yeah,
Farlowe
I brought
albums
some
there.
records for show and tell for you. Should we just start? I'm a big fan, so
I'm a big fan, so.
Go out and touch my baby, my old-fashioned baby.
So I guess I wanted to start in your skiffle years. I know you started out John Henry Skiffle group.
Yeah.
I guess what changed where you started to move to R&B and soul? Like, where was the moment where you changed from skiffle to
Well,
R&B?
my mother was a pianist.
Mm-hmm.
I was born during the war, the beginning of a war in London. And my mother used to go to the pubs and play the pianos for the old troops and all that. And I used to sit with her. And she learnt me Doris Day songs. And I'd be singing Doris Day songs or Johnny Ray songs, you know. And people used to say, you know, who's that little boy singing? And my mum said, that's my son, you know. So where did you get that voice from? She said, I don't know. Just started singing one day and that's it, you know. Anyway, so we progressed from there. I grew up during the 50s. But of course, then I heard Elvis, of course, early stuff, you know, and all the Sun stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, the very first thing that made me want to be a singer, rock and roll singer, was I went and saw Rock Around the Clock with Bill Haley, the film, you know, soundtrack. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, wow, I want to be a singer. So that started it all off, really. And then we were very lucky to be given some gigs at the American air bases that were still in use in England, you know. Alconbury and Chicksands and them sort of places. And I used to go up and we used to do all our skiffle stuff and all that. And then they had a shop, PX. And I said to the guy one day, can I have a look in the shop, please? And PX, yeah, go in. And then, of course, they had a load of 45s and albums. So I started going through them and I thought, whew, look at these, I like these. Johnny Burnett, the Rock and Roll Trio, look. 10-inch album, I'll have that. So I put that aside, you know. And so we started to learn our music career, then started off, you know.
Sure.
And then I was hooked. I had to buy everything that I could buy that was R&B, proper R&B, you know. Not the modern R&B, which is terrible. And then I had a great band. I mean, I always had a great musicians.
Yeah.
And then Albert Lee joined me for 4 years, and that was Chris Farlowe and the Thunderbirds then. And then that's it, yeah. And that's Mr. Lee there.
Yeah.
And it took off, and we were wanted all right. We were the in band, you know.
Okay.
We used to do clubs in London, and you get the Beatles coming in, you get all the early Led Zeppelin boys, and everybody coming down this clubs room just to see our band, you know, which is great, you know. All the guitar players all sitting there listening to Albert, you know. Always remember that.
That's incredible.
And it snowballed, really. We were there one night, and we did about an hour and a half show. And it was all cinema seats in the front, people sitting around. And someone said to me, I went back to the dressing room, and someone said, did you see the black guy in the front? I said, they're all black. They're all from the air bases. They're all black guys sitting there, all coming to rock for the weekend, you know. No, the guy said, that was Otis Redding. And I said, no, never in a million years, Otis Redding. What's he doing down here? Anyway, so I went back to the dressing room. There was a knock on my door. I said, come in. And Otis Redding walked in. And I thought, oh dear, it's Otis Redding. And he came up to me and he went, you are a great singer. And I said, really? He went, you're a soul brother. And I went, oh, he called me a soul brother. That's great. So he said to me, I'm doing a TV show on Friday called Ready, Steady, Go.
Sure.
Would you like to be my guest? And it's like something never happens, only once in a lifetime that does, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd love to be your guest, sir. And I did it.
Shaking,
And I'd done a few more concerts with Otis on the road.
Mhm.
We were following him around on the road. Then we had great times together, and of course, he got killed, which was a terrible, terrible shame.
Yeah.
Especially for me. I couldn't believe it when I got the phone call, Otis Redding had died. I thought, what?
Wow.
No, that can't be right, surely. But during that time, I got used to all the other artists in the world that we met, early Sons people.
Sure.
Johnny Cash. I'm never a Johnny Cash fan. I'm not a big Johnny Cash fan. But Carl Perkins, those sort of people I love very much. Jerry Lee Lewis, of course.
Sure.
And Little Richard's my favourite.
Oh, yeah. Can't beat him.
As far as I'm concerned, he is it.
Yeah.
When I first heard that Lucille record, and I cranked it up, and that riff, I thought that's got to be the best riff of rock and roll that's ever been made, because that really got you at it. And then of course his singing came in top.
Oh yeah.
And I went, wow, boy, he's great. So I met him a couple of times after that, which were nice. I was in Brussels in a place called the Westbury Hotel. I always remember this. And I was on the 7th floor. And I pressed the button on the lift to go down. The lift opened up. I walked in, and Little Richard is in there, and he was combing his hair in the mirror like that. And he looked at me, and I said, "This is God's honest truth." I said, "Hello, Mr. Penniman. How are you?" And he went, "You know my name?" I said, "Yeah, Richard Penniman." He must have thought I was FBI or something like that.
That's amazing.
And I said, "Yeah." Oh, I said, "I can't believe it that I'm standing in the same place as Richard Penniman is." I said, "I'm one of your greatest fans, probably the greatest. I've got a load of your records." And he started, "Oh, thank you very much, And he said, "I'm going to the bar. Would you like to join me for some drinks?" I said, "I'd love to." So
wow.
I started talking to him about his life then.
Sure.
Like Esterico, and they got some info from him as well, And he was lovely. A really lovely guy. Most people are in this business, not all of them.
Sure.
Bob Dylan is not one of them. That's thank you, sir.
So I guess moving on. You were one of the first artists to record for Immediate Records. I know. How did your relationship with Andrew Loog Oldham start, and Mick Jagger?
The club I'm talking about is the Flamingo Club.
Okay.
Was one of the great clubs of the world,
Sure.
Especially for anybody. I mean, I used to get people coming up to me and saying, "Hey man," I didn't know who they were. Can I go have a play with you?" And I said, "Yeah." "What do you do?" "Play." And of course the boy said, "Yeah, let him play, because I can have a beer break then." I said, "Okay." And I said, "What's your name?" "Johnny Guitar Watson." And Larry Williams. And I said,
wow.
"All right, Larry. Come on in, get up on the stage." And we'd have a blast,
Wow.
And the next night, you'd be there, and it was like, every night was like Howling Wolf. Eric Burden would always ring me up and say, "You going to the Flamingo tonight?" I said, "I don't know. Who's on?" "Howling Wolf." "Yes, I shall be there." "John Lee Hooker." "Yes, I will be there." But they were unknown in England.
Sure.
They were completely brought over as unknown people, And the kids didn't know who they were. And I used to come in and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a gentleman here from America. I'd like to sing some blues for you, And John Lee Hooker this is a true story. John Lee Hooker, we followed him up. We toured around London and outskirts of London for a few weeks with him playing. And the young kids were coming up to him, "Could I have your autograph, please?" He said, "No, I don't do autographs. No, sorry, don't do autographs." And I always thought to myself, why didn't he do that? So I went up to him and I said, "John, these young kids here, they're grooving on you. And they just like a little memento. They want you to sign their books for them,
Mm-hmm.
He said, "This is God honest truth." He said, "Chris, I can't write and I can't read." And I said, "Wow." So Dave Greenslade, who was the keyboard player in the Thunderbirds,
Sure.
we used to get sheets of paper and we taught John Lee Hooker how to sign his autograph.
Wow. That's incredible.
And I put a J. Don't put John, that's too complicated. Put a J and then an L. Don't put Lee. And then the bad bit is John Lee Hooker. And he did it. And we took, even Van Morrison said, fuck me, he said that. That is unbelievable story. I said, it's true.
That's incredible.
Absolutely true, that is.
That is
incredible. Unbelievable. Holy shit, dude.
And then the progress of music, it all, you know, I was buying lots of records in those days. And I still buy records now. There's still a ton of music out there that I've never heard, you know.
Sure.
That's why I've refined myself a little bit, you know. I love women singers, you know.
Sure.
They're like Nita O'Day, Jerry Southern, Chris Connor, Sarah Vaughan, goes on and on.
Sure.
I love it. And that's my own vocal style is from them.
I was going to
ask,
yeah.
I do a lot of scat singing on stage with Van, and I learnt that from Sarah Vaughan and other people, you know.
Did that also influence your vocals in Coliseum? I know they were a little more fusion,
yes, of course.
Jazz rocky.
Coliseum is a jazz rock outfit.
Sure.
And and what's clever about me is some of the songs that Coliseum do are very, very long.
Yes. As
you know. And sometimes I can't work out the lyrics sometimes when you're singing, you know. So instead of going like, when I was a baby, I got bit out by the and John Eisman used to say to me, you've got the words, didn't you? I said, yeah. Does it matter? He said, no, it don't make no difference. And yet when we were being reviewed in Japan, the guy wrote out all the words for the Coliseum album to be pressed into Japanese, you know.
Sure.
And it was going like, you know, the lyrics were like, you are the thing I love to speak, and then I would go, I knew the lyrics anyway at that time, but then I go, and the Japanese guy was writing that down, going, how do you spell boop 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 boopy bop bop bop? I said, they're not words, they're symbols.
That's amazing.
And they were right, typical Japanese. They have to fucking work out something where they, you know, where they can't work it out normally. So that was funny. That was. I said to John Eisman, listen to that album. He said, what's all that? In it, I said, that's my scat singing. No, he says. I said, yeah. Word for word, scat singing. Never heard of that one before. So it's on ever since, you know, my life has been like that for music, you know. And I've been fortunate enough to have met and played with some of the greats in this world, you know, like Jimmy Page.
Sure.
Van, I'm still working with Van now. Incredible. Doing his birthday party in 3 weeks when I get back to London, yeah.
Fantastic.
And you know, funny, I was at the Heathrow Airport a little while ago. I was sitting there having a coffee, and I don't go to the lounge, you know, the first class lounge or something. I like to go and, you know, have a cup of coffee and sit there, watch the world go by, you know. This guy came up to me, completely bald, and I'm sitting there, and he looked at me and he pointed to me like that. He went, Chris Farlowe. I went, all right. I get that all the time. You can imagine that, right? Chris Farlowe. I went, hello. And he said, you're an icon. You're an idol. You're lovely. He said, when I was 15 years old, he said, I used to go down to the Flamingo Club, sit down and just listen to your band. He said, oh, you were fantastic. Wow, he says. So I said, oh, right, cool. I'm very nice. You like it. You know, I said, what do you do for a living? He says, oh, I'm a singer-songwriter. Oh, I said, are you? Have you done anything good? You know, okay. Mm-hmm. He said, my name is Peter Gabriel. And I went, oh, shit. I remember you.
That's amazing.
Peter Gabriel. And I'm asking him what he does in the fucking rock and roll business. Isn't it? But anyway, we got on very well together, and he was all right.
So at the Flamingo, is that where like Andrew Loog Oldham and Mick Jagger
Yeah,
would see
get back to Luke Oldham.
Yeah.
Luke Oldham was, in the Flamingo in the early days, was the hamburger chef.
Oh, wow.
He was cooking the hamburgers for people. And then he got involved with the Rolling Stones,
Sure.
or Mick and Keith,
Yeah.
and he became their manager. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, you know. And he was successful at the time. Immediate Records were great,
Yeah.
you know. And because I was there at that time, and my manager it was his club, Luke Oldham said, we'd like Chris to be on our label, you know. And I said, that'll do me.
Fantastic. And then Out of Time was shortly after that then.
Yeah, Mick Graham. Well, I did a few records from
Sure.
the Stones, you know, before that. But then he rang me up one day and said, I've written another song for you, come and listen to it. So I went down to his flat and he was playing guitar and he started playing it. To be quite honest, I didn't like it at all. I listened to it and I thought, I'm a rhythm and blues singer. I'm not going to sing this. And he said, oh, it'll be good on the night. Don't worry about it. When we get to the orchestra, it'll be good, you know. And of course, we went to record it. And there was a 20-piece orchestra there, you know. And I thought, wow, yeah, I love that. And of course, it became a big number one for me, you know.
What changed for you after having a hit record like that?
Well, a lot of work, a
Sure.
lot of touring. But I still live with my mum and dad.
Wow.
Still live with them. Nothing really. It's never bothered me, all that.
Sure.
You know, and mega rich people, you know. I mean, I'm okay. I've got some great friends like Van and all the rest of them. Paul McCartney's here.
Yeah.
It's strange that I can't be here for that day. I could have got, my friend Chuck's going, he's got some tickets, but...
Oh, you got tickets, Chuck. Nice.
Yeah, I could have got him backstage, you know. I've got Chuck backstage in Buffalo lots of times. The Who, didn't we? And the Kinks and everybody, you know. And it's, you just have to make that phone call and that's it, you know, done.
I guess I want to talk a little bit about Atomic Rooster when you joined. I know the records kind of changed their sound a little when you joined more to like soul influence and funk. Were you actively like introducing Vincent Crane to soul records and stuff like that?
Vincent, I knew Vincent before, you know, from a long time.
Okay.
And when he was with Arthur Brown doing Fire and all that sort of stuff, you know. And I was out of work. I wasn't looking for work, but I was out of work. And then he rang me up and just said, well, I know what your singing ability is, Chris. Can you join the band? And I said, how much are you going to give me? And he told me the price. And I said, yeah, all right, that's fine. And I was only with them about 9 months, you know.
Yeah.
And then I had to do an album, which is, there it is.
Records there.
I had to do an album, which is my favourite album of all time.
Which
and
one
that's
is that?
the Chris Farlowe, From Here to Mama Rosa.
Oh, I brought that here. I actually wanted to, tell us a little bit about that record.
That is my favourite record, and it's completely different.
Yes.
It got reviewed in Shindig magazine recently, and they call it one of the great psychedelic records. No, I don't know why. I mean, I'm not a psychedelic person myself.
I know, it's not very psychedelic.
They said it's got that great feel to it, and the songs are completely different to what I've done before.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely album.
It is. It's great.
And it's a rare album as well.
Yeah.
You haven't got the Last Goodbye album, have you?
I don't know. I need that one.
Somebody asked me the other day if I could. Oh, it was Jimmy Page. He asked me if do I have a copy of. I said I don't. My family take all my records, you know.
Yeah.
And he said to me, if you get me a mint copy, has to be mint. I said, oh well, I'll give you good money for it, you know. I said, oh, okay, fine. Right. But that's a rare album.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a copy. I've just started recently buying my own copies back to put on my kitchen wall, you know, which I have done.
And I see Charlie Records is doing some reissues of your stuff.
Yeah, lots of that stuff, yeah.
That's great to see.
The Repertoire Records as well. They do issues. They do all the Coliseum stuff, you know, basically.
And we do have to ask, what sandwich were you eating on stage with Atomic Rooster?
Well, we'd been travelling from England to Germany, and it was a long trip by road. And I got in, I said to the guy, I'm starving. Got anything to eat? And we're in the studio. He said, yeah, get you a sandwich, yeah. So he came in and offered me, I think it was ham sandwich. And I started eating it, and I could hear the band, the music starting up, and I'm sort of sitting there going, and the producer went, and I said, what? He said, you're on. And I said, on? And I got this, so I threw it on the floor, and I'm singing away. I don't Black Snake, I think.
Yeah, Black Snake.
I was singing like, I miss the man of man with what it was done. Trying to eat it as fast as I could, you know. Everyone laughs at that and said, what was you doing? I said, I was eating a sandwich.
All right. Black snake living in a black hole, hiding from the sun. Black snake living in a black hole till the night has come. Black snake living in a black hole, hiding from the sun. Evil out in the darkness till the night has come. Evil out in the darkness till the night has come.
Hi, hello everybody. All your Revolver record collectors. My name is Chris Farlowe. I'm a singer by profession. I've made many records, which you probably have in your collection. And I'd just like to say hello and welcome to Buffalo. I love Buffalo. And I'll see you on.
Oh, you're the man. Thanks,
That
Mr.
was
Farlowe.
great.
Really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, mate.